On Labor Day night, Walters is the spot for disappointed Florida State fans to watch their team bounce back against Boston College. Walters will be open through the entire game.
We're driven by the search for better. But when it comes to hiring, the best way to search for a candidate isn't to search at all. Don't search, match with Indeed. Indeed is your matching and hiring platform with over 350 million global monthly visitors, according to Indeed data, and a matching engine that helps you find quality candidates fast. Ditch the busy work. Use Indeed for scheduling, screening, and messaging so you can connect with candidates faster. Leveraging over 140 million qualifications and preferences every day, Indeed's matching engine is constantly learning from your preferences, so the more you use Indeed, the better it gets. Join more than 3.5 million businesses worldwide that use Indeed to hire great talent fast. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/Blue Wire. Just go to Indeed.com/Blue Wire right now and support our show by saying that you heard about Indeed on this podcast. That's Indeed.com/Blue Wire. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? You need Indeed.
Now the set in a long hole. Clock down to 2-1. The pitch swung on. Hit deep to left field. Verdugo going back. It's over his head and off the base of the wall in play. Heading for third is Tena. He'll hold there. And into second is Dylan Cruz with a double. And his first hit in the major leagues.
Here's the pitch. Swing and a miss. Struck him out. Didn't like that bat. Not going to kiss that one. Patrick Corbin has struck out over the last 2 innings. Juan Soto and Aaron Judge consecutively. Tena hits one in the air to right center field. This is deep. Way back it goes. And on consecutive pitches, the Nationals go back to back. Nationals 3, Yankees nothing. Chaparro and Tena on consecutive pitches. Homer against Gerrit Cole.
And welcome to Nats Chat for Wednesday, August 28, 2024, along with MASNsports.com Nationals insider Mark Zuckerman, who is at Nationals Park. I'm Al Galdi, host of the Al Galdi podcast. So how about what went down between the Nationals and the New York Yankees at Nationals Park on Wednesday evening? We on Wednesday evening at Nationals Park had the Nats going 0 for 10 with runners in scoring position, as the Nats and Yankees over the first 2 games of this series incredibly are a combined 0 for 30 with runners in scoring position. But we also at Nationals Park on Wednesday evening had starting pitcher Patrick Corbin outdueling Yankees starting pitcher and 2023 American League Cy Young Award winner Gerrit Cole. And we on Wednesday evening at Nationals Park had the Nats defeating the American League leading Yankees 4-2. The Nats for this regular season now 60-73. The Yankees now at American League best 78-55. This installment of the Nats Chat podcast brought to us by the best legal recruiter in the DC market, Mason Kalfas. Step up to a World Series winner and hire the best legal recruiter out there. Check out Mason's website today, zenithlegal.com, or call or text Mason anytime, 202-486-3535. Coming up later in the show, a Nats Chat podcast shout out. If you via this podcast would like to send a shout out to someone who you care about, email Tim Shovers, natschatpodcast@gmail.com. So it was in the Nationals' 7-game win over the Houston Astros in the 2019 World Series that the Nats got to then Astros starting pitcher Gerrit Cole. He in 14 innings over 2 starts in the series gave up 11 hits, including 3 home runs. We remember those well. Well, the Nats now are quite different than they were in 2019. Cole now is with the Yankees, but the Nats on Wednesday evening got to Cole again. 3 runs in 5 innings. He did have 7 strikeouts versus 1 walk, but the Nats off Cole 2 homers, 2 doubles, and 2 singles. And Mark, the Nats got themselves a nice win.
This was arguably their, if not their best win of the year, their most enjoyable win of the year, their most impressive win of the year. I don't know what adjective you want to use for it, but this was fun. This was a callback to a different time, both in terms of the environment inside the ballpark, in terms of Patrick Corbin and what he did on the mound, and what arguably I would say was his best pitching performance since Game 7 of the World Series. And to see this young lineup not really be fazed by who they were facing in Gerrit Cole. Once again, second straight night, a lot of hard hits, well-hit balls, good quality at-bats. And I know They missed a bunch of opportunities to really deliver the death blow to him and drive in a bunch more runs and take a big lead, but they did enough. They hit for power, which was really nice to see. The bullpen hung on for dear life at the end, and that was a fun, enjoyable night at the ballpark that felt like it was a bigger win than we've seen around here in a while.
No doubt. Yeah, the 0 for 30 with runners in scoring position is wild, man, that these two teams have done that over the first two games. If that's not a record for two games, that's got to be close, 0 for 30. But the Nats did hit Cole. Like I said, he was far from, the dominant Gerrit Cole, who we have come to know. Now, he has dealt with injury here lately. We get that. But the Nats in this game scored a run in the bottom of the second, 2 runs in the bottom of the fourth, and a run in the bottom of the sixth. And Dylan Cruz, he in his second major league regular season game had his first 2 hits and had his first stolen base. Cruz in this game as the Nats starting right fielder and number 7 batter, 2 for 4 with a double and a single and a stolen base. Cruz in the Nats 1-run second, a 1-out double off the base of the left field wall for his first major league regular season hit. That double per Statcast, an exit velocity of 104.4 miles per hour. That was the Nats' 3rd highest exit velocity of the game. So Cole, off the, rather blah debut, comes out swinging here, gets a beautiful double off Cole, and then Cruz in the Nats 1-run 6, a 1-out infield single on a swinging bunt toward third base on a 1-2 pitch, but the tapper prompted a throwing error by Yankees catcher Jose Trevino, who in the inning committed 2 throwing errors. The Yankees in the inning committed 3 errors. The Yankees have been a sloppy mess at times in this series so far, and Cruz then had a steal of third base. A productive game number 2 for Dylan Cruz.
We saw, I think, the much more authentic version of Dylan Cruz in this one than in the first one. And as we said, it's not like his debut was bad. He drew a walk. He had some quality at bats. He just didn't really do much of anything, kind of nondescript. You saw him in this one show everything that he could do. He hit for power. He crushed that pitch, very nearly hit his first career homer in the process. But he also ran hard on the bases, turning that little dribbler into the hit, immediately getting to second base, stealing third with a nifty slide because the throw beat him there, and he got around the tag and got to third. Then he scored after that, made a couple of plays in the field, not spectacular plays, but solid plays, especially in the 9th inning when everything was starting to fall apart around them, and he stayed calm and got the job done. And this was, I think, a good reflection of who Dylan Cruz can be. I think we've been talking all along. He may not be somebody who wows you a lot, who's spectacular, but he's a guy who's going to be able to do everything well and probably do it very consistently and rise to the occasion in big moments. And there's a long way to go before we really know who he is as a big league player. But what I saw in this game kind of fit with the profile of who I've come to understand Dylan Cruz is.
He was the number 7 batter in this game. He was the number 2 batter on Tuesday evening. What do you think the thinking was there?
The thinking was against the lefties, he's definitely going to hit high in the lineup. Against the righties, for now, Davey said it'll be lower in the lineup. That will change as he starts to show some success. And you're going to hit a ball like that off one of the best right-handers in baseball, in Gerrit Cole. You're not going to stay down there in the 7th spot for very long. Now, they're facing a lefty again on Wednesday in the finale, so he'll be up high. Next time they face a righty, I don't know if he's going to be hitting second or first or somewhere near the top of the lineup, but I would think if he keeps this up, it won't be long before he's consistently somewhere near the top of the lineup.
And, this is always one of these things that's hard to assess, but Cruz can run, and Trevino committing that throwing error on the tapper off Cruz's bat. You wonder if Cruz's speed had anything to do with Trevino committing that throwing error, not unlike what we saw with James Wood in this game. So Wood in this game did go hitless. He is an Nats starting left fielder and number 2 batter, 0 for 4, 2 strikeouts. But Wood in the bottom of the first smashed a 1-out opposite field grounder to Yankees third baseman Jazz Chisholm Jr., who himself committed a throwing error. The grounder per Statcast exit velo of 107.1, highest Nats exit velocity of the game. But we know that Wood can run. You never know what's going on in a fielder's brain, right? But Cruz can run, Wood can run. I don't think it's necessarily coincidental that these guys make contact, put balls in play, and each guy ended up generating a throwing error in this game.
Right. And I think this is what Davey Martinez and his staff are talking about when they want their team to put pressure on the other team. It doesn't just mean stealing bases. It means playing hard all the time, having guys who can force the issue, even on a ground ball or on a routine single to the outfield where you're trying to take that extra base. Put it in their minds, and now you can cause problems. And I think that's the mindset that they want them to have. It's not just about, try to steal as many bases as you can. It's about smart, aggressive base running in general. And you saw good examples of that in this game. And boy, wasn't it interesting for a change to see the Nats do all the fundamental things right and the Yankees look like a disaster out there in so many ways.
The Yankees did not look good in this game at all. Would love to be listening in on Yankees postgame talk on the radio after this game, and all the Yankees fans yelling and screaming about the sky must be falling because the Yankees just lost the game.
Aaron Judge. That was his, and this is a weird thing to say, but Aaron Judge, the prohibitive MVP of the league, after grinding into a double play in the 8th inning, that was his 20th time this year that he grounded into a double play. 20! No one is saying that should have any effect on what we think of him as a player, as a hitter, etc., etc. But 20 times he has grounded into a double play this season. 20!
Are you a lawyer that hates your boss even more than you hate jerks and Profar? Does your law firm always fail, just like the San Diego Padres? Well, Nats Chat sponsor Mason Kalfas is the best legal recruiter in the DC legal market, and you should give him a call. Mason specializes in working with law firm partners, associates, and senior government lawyers in antitrust, securities enforcement, energy, and life sciences. Mason is the founder of Zenith Legal, a 10-person legal recruiting firm with recruiters in D.C., New York, Philadelphia, and other cities. Mason has placed partners and associates in over half of the AmLaw 100 law firms. All conversations are 100% confidential and focused holistically on your career goals. Some lawyers change jobs for more money, some change jobs because of client conflicts, and some change because their colleagues are losers like the Padres and Phillies. Step up to a World Series winner and hire the best legal recruiter out there for free. Call Mason Kalfas today at 202-486-3535.
Chaparro has very good power. He gives you a hard swing. He's piled up the doubles with 7. He had 23 homers in the minors. Just a matter of time. 2-2 pitch on the way. Swinging a long drive, left field. Back goes Verdugo to the warning track, to the wall, and there it goes! First big league home run for Andres Chaparro. Nationals 2, Yankees nothing. Judge couldn't rob that one. What a moment for Chaparro, the former Yankees prospect. Hits his first big league home run against the Yankees Cy Young winner Gerrit Cole.
The Nats' homers in this game came on 2 consecutive pitches. Both homers coming off Gerrit Cole. Andres Chaparro, he is the Nats starting DH and number 5 batter, 1 for 4 with a solo homer. Did strike out 3 times, but Chaparro in the Nats' 2-run 4th leadoff homer to left field off Gerrit Cole for a 2-0 Nats lead. Andres Chaparro now has 52 plate appearances since the Nats on August 13th announced having selected his contract from AAA Rochester. OPS of 777. And Jose Tena, he followed the Chaparro homer with a first pitch homer to right center field off Cole for a 3-0 Nats lead. That homer went a projected 405 feet per Statcast. Tena in this game as the Nats starting third baseman and number 6 batter, 2 for 4 with the homer. Also had a single. Tena in the Nats 1-run second, a 1-out single to center field. So Tena now has accumulated 49 plate appearances since the Nats on August 10th announced having recalled him from AAA Rochester. OPS of 856. The Nats are getting some really nice production from Tena and Chaparro.
I'll tell you what, when they hit the ball, they hit it really hard. Now, more so in Chaparro's case, it's a matter of actually hitting it. He struck out in his 3 other at-bats in this game. He takes some big cuts at the plate. But as we see, when he makes contact, it's really good contact. If he can find a way to lay off some of those breaking balls that surely he's starting to see more of as teams get an idea of who he is, he may have a chance of doing something here. Tena, a little more of a well-rounded hitter, it feels like. We know there's some defensive concerns for him, although he had some nice plays here the last couple nights at third base. So, these are two trade deadline pickups and not the marquee ones. These are not the top prospects the Nationals got in their 4 trades in July, but they are the two who were closest to big league ready, and they're getting their opportunity now. And as we talked about with Jacob Young last night, sometimes just being here first gives you the leg up and the chance to say, okay, there may be better prospects waiting behind me down there in the minors, but I'm here right now, and I have a chance to do something with this opportunity. And in both cases, they are doing something with it and at least forcing the issue and making the Nationals think, could one or either of these guys or both of them end up actually being part of this moving forward?
They've been good. And, you think about Tena, if he continues to do well, you maybe feel comfortable with him as your third baseman to begin next season. And then you can hold off on summoning Brady House to the majors and push off that service time clock so that you don't have Wood and Cruz and House all on the same service time timeline. But good stuff from Chaparro and Tena. So how about what the Nats starting pitcher in this 4-2 win over the Yankees on Wednesday evening did? Patrick Corbin. I'm sure a lot of people looked at this game and said, Corbin versus Yankees, here we go. But no, Corbin ended up doing so well in this game. He was good for a second consecutive start. Now, as you may recall, his last start, which went well, came against one of the worst teams in baseball, the Colorado Rockies. Corbin, this past Thursday afternoon, August 22nd, in the Nats' 8-3 win over the Rockies at Nationals Park. 1 run, 6 innings, 8 strikeouts, 1 walk. A good outing for sure, but again, the Rockies are really bad. Corbin, on Tuesday evening, really good against a really good team. Corbin against the mighty Yankees, 6 scoreless innings with 6 strikeouts. He gave up just 2 hits, which were a double and a single. He issued 2 walks. He threw 104 pitches, 64 strikes versus 40 balls. So Patrick Corbin, whose strikeout numbers during this decline have plummeted, he now has 14 strikeouts over his last 2 outings, during which he has allowed 1 run over 12 innings. We've mentioned 2019 a few times. This has been 2019 Corbin, these last 2 outings.
I have lots of thoughts right now to share on Patrick Corbin. The first, and this is what I felt as he walked off the mound at the end of the 6th inning, he's had some better, more dominant starts since then. But under the circumstances, given who he was facing, given where things currently stand with him at this stage of his career, I think there's a case to be made that this is his best pitching appearance since Game 7 of the World Series. Am I wrong for thinking that?
I don't think so. Again, you factor in the opposition and you factor in the run prevention, giving up just 2 hits. Corbin, a guy who's given up so many hits these last 5 seasons, I don't think that's ridiculous at all.
So, number one, that was a thought that I had. Number 2, we've talked for 5 years now about, can he adapt? Can he grow as a pitcher? Can he find a new way to be successful and not just keep trying to do it the old way that was successful, but many years ago, and he has not been able to duplicate that? We're seeing some little glimpses, maybe, of that here. And for a couple of reasons. There's 2 things that he's doing well. He's throwing his slider at multiple speeds. He's finding a way to take it some off at the times, throw it a little harder at times. It just makes that pitch less predictable. The hitter maybe picks up the spin of it, but not necessarily the speed of it. So he's doing that. The other thing is he's throwing his cutter a whole lot more. And in this start, it was up about 3 miles an hour over his typical average velocity for that pitch. It was upper 80s, even approaching 90. And he said it's been a work in progress to figure this out, but he's feeling a lot more confident with that pitch. He got swings and misses with that pitch, which is not something that we've seen from him. So all of a sudden, a guy that we've talked all the years about, he needs a third pitch he can trust. He had one in this game, and I think he's felt like he's had it the last few starts. Now, it's too late for this to, amount to much of anything here. But the other thought I had at the end of all this was, is it possible that Patrick Corbin earned himself a job somewhere in 2025 with this start? If I'm his agent, I'm putting together a highlight reel right now and having it ready to go for any teams that might be in the market for pitching next winter.
Well, we talked about this after his last start. What is going to happen with him as a free agent this coming offseason? He's not coming back here, okay? I mean, that's not happening. But might he get a contract somewhere else? What kind of a contract would he get? I mean, are we talking about, a minor league contract with an invite to Major League spring training? Or are we talking about some kind of a major league contract? We'll see. But I do have to laugh at what you just said. I mean, it only took until his final 6 weeks on a 6-year contract to start evolving. I mean, man, why don't you wait a little longer next time? But good for him for pitching well these last 2 outings, especially in this game against the Yankees. Hey, Al Galdi here to tell you about the latest great offer from Window Nation. For listeners of the Nats Chat podcast, get 2 free windows for every 2 windows that you buy, plus pay nothing with no interest for 2 full years, plus get an additional $250 credit. If you have been thinking about getting new windows, now is the time. Take advantage of this offer from Window Nation. Call 866-90NATION or visit windownation.com and tell Window Nation that you want the deal that you heard about from Al Galdi on the Nats Chat podcast. Window Nation windows are outstanding. 96% customer satisfaction rating. 96% of Window Nation windows installed require no follow-up service, and Window Nation has received more than 33,000 5-star reviews on Google. Take advantage of this offer. 2 free windows for every 2 windows that you buy. Plus, pay nothing with no interest for 2 full years and get an additional $250 credit. 866-90NATION or windownation.com. Tell Window Nation that you want the deal that you heard about from Al Galdi on the Nats Chat podcast. 866-90NATION or windownation.com and tell Window Nation that Al Galdi sent you.
The 1-0. Swinging a ground ball, left side, backhanded by Abrams, throws to second for 1, jump throw through the bag by Garcia for a spectacular double play. Abrams to Garcia, through the bag with an off-balance throw, perfect to Gallo, and the inning is over just like that.
It's a good thing that Corbin was as good as he was because the Nats bullpen in this game had some problems. 4 Nats relievers combined to allow 2 runs, 1 earned in 3 innings. Eduardo Salazar in the top of the 7th faced 3 batters, but got just 1 out. Jose A. Ferrer, he faced 1 batter, threw 2 pitches, and got 2 outs via a spectacular double play. Ferrer came into the game top of the 7th, runners on first and second, 1 out. Nats holding a 4-0 lead. He on the second pitch that he threw induced a 6-4-3 double play off the bat of Alex Verdugo. And this was one of the best double plays I've seen the Nats turn this season. Shortstop C.J. Abrams made a terrific backhanded catch of the grounder while running toward third base, threw to second base while falling away from the second base bag. Second baseman Luis Garcia Jr. caught the throw and then threw across his body while moving toward third base. And then first baseman Joey Gallo, good to see him back at first base, made a great stretch for the putout at first base. All 3 guys in that spot, Abrams, Garcia, and Gallo, doing really good work. There's more to what the bullpen did, but I feel like that double play deserves some discussion of its own.
100%. That was such a thing of beauty to watch in person. The crowd anticipating each step of the process and then roaring when it was completed. It was so nice to see, especially the 2 young middle infielders who have had some issues at times. We know Abrams has been in a bad way here recently in the field. To see them do that, not just a traditional 6-4-3, but a spectacular 6-4-3 in a big moment against that team was huge. You hope it rubs off on them, although unfortunately, Luis Garcia then had an error later on in the game and almost cost them big time. But in that moment, that really felt like something special and the kind of thing I know the Nationals are hoping to see a lot of for years to come, especially from those 2 up the middle.
I like Gallo at first base, and if he's going to still be on the team, you might as well benefit from the one real positive he has brought to the table this season, his defense at first base. So let's put him there, and he can help out with the infield defense here moving forward.
Agreed, 100%. And even if he doesn't hit for you, I will take that in the field. It does make a difference. He had a few of them, not just on that play, but a few other nice scoops in this game.
So then we had Jacob Barnes. He allowed 1 run, which was unearned in 2/3 of an inning. He began a Yankees 1-run 8th by giving up back-to-back singles, and then came what Mark just brought up, the error by Luis Garcia Jr., a throwing error. The Yankees scored the run on a double play off the bat of Aaron Judge, and given how great Judge is, you'll gladly exchange the run for a double play off his bat. And then we had Kyle Finnegan. Now, he allowed 1 run in 1 1/3 innings. He got the save. He began his outing by getting a big out. Came into the game top of the 8th, runner on third, 2 outs. Nats up 4-1, and Finnegan induced a ground out by the Yankees' number 4 batter, Giancarlo Stanton. But Finnegan, in the top of the 9th, allowed a run, and the particulars here matter. Finnegan gave up a leadoff double by Jazz Chisholm Jr. to the right center field gap, followed by an RBI ground out by Anthony Volpe. The double by Chisholm had an exit velocity of 110.1 miles per hour per StatCast, highest exit velocity of the game. Finnegan then gave up back-to-back one-out singles by Austin Wells and Alex Verdugo. The single by Wells exit velocity of 107.2 miles per hour per StatCast, third highest exit velocity of the game. So Finnegan does get the save. The Wells and Verdugo singles ended up not mattering. But when you dig deep on Finnegan, and we've talked about his peripherals not being very good, one of the biggest things that jumps out, he gives up really hard contact. And it is felt for so much of this season that the success that he has had has been a house of cards in a lot of ways. And to see him give up this, white-hot contact in this outing, it's concerning to me. And he now has allowed at least 1 run in 5 of his last 10 appearances. I know he has a bunch of saves, but when you really study this guy, it's troubling. It's not a good profile, and we saw more of that in this outing.
And I was particularly worried in this one as it starts to go south on him, knowing who he's facing, knowing who was coming up in the lineup, but even who he may have had to face before the big boys came up, because he does give up hard contact. And we know usually when he's blown one this year, there's been a big home run involved. And if there's any team out there that you're worried about that happening, it's this one in the Yankees. So I was holding my breath. I think a lot of people were holding their breath watching this one, and it got tense. And he was one pitch away from loading the bases for Juan Soto, who would have represented the go-ahead run with 2 outs in the 9th. Thankfully, he got those last 2 outs, a couple fly balls to right field. Did you see the stat my colleague Bobby Blanco from Masson Sports put out there? This is amazing. The final out to Gleyber Torres, fly ball to right field. Dylan Cruz catches it. It would have been a home run in one major league park. You know which one? Yankee Stadium. Thank God this was a home game and not a road game, huh?
Very much so. I tell you, with Finnegan, it's tricky, man. He made the All-Star team this season, and deservedly so, but his post-All-Star break portion of the season has had a lot of these outings where he's either given up runs, or even if he doesn't give up runs, it doesn't look particularly good. The Nats chose not to trade him. I said at the time, I hope they don't regret that. We'll see what happens. It's interesting, too. So arbitration this coming offseason, prior to hitting free agency the following offseason, I don't know what kind of money he can command via arbitration, but it's not nothing. If you're looking at, I don't know, $9, $10, $11 million, are the Nats going to be willing to pay that? Should they be willing to pay that for a guy with concerning peripherals? I guess the fact that they didn't trade him tells you that they are willing to pay that, but I think it's important to keep this in mind. What he's up for arbitration-wise is not going to be like $1 or $2 million. It's going to be something fairly significant.
Yeah, I agree. I think they will pay it, because what's the alternative? There's nobody in-house ready to take over that role. And if you're going to go sign a free agent, this was kind of the whole thought process about not trading him. If you want a real good, reliable, experienced closer, it's going to cost you at least that much, if not more, in free agency. So I do think there's no question that they bring him back no matter what the dollar amount is. But I also think it's going to be important. We talk about what their needs are going to be this winter. Power hitting first baseman, high on the list. Experienced starting pitcher, I think, high on the list. I think right behind those, and no less significant, is a quality setup man who could step into the closer's role if needed. A Hunter Harvey type of reliever. Not a Dylan Floro type, who they could use certainly as well, but a flamethrower, somebody who could profile as a closer if the situation arose and you needed it. I do think that's something they're going to have to look at this winter, even if Finnegan closed out the season well. I think that's something that you need to have as some insurance, and just have a lockdown eighth inning guy, if nothing else.
Absolutely. You want multiple closer options. How many teams go through an entire regular season without changing their closer at some point, either due to injury or ineffectiveness? Although, to Finnegan's credit, and he does deserve praise for this, he is remarkably durable. Like, he does not get hurt. He eats up innings. He's been very consistent in that regard for the Nats, and there certainly is value in that.
Can I also throw out, we kind of glossed over that Judge double play that Barnes induced. That was huge.
Now the set. Barnes delivers. Judge swings. It's a ground ball to short. Abrams has it. They'll get it out there. Throw to first. double play.
You've got bases loaded, the biggest home run hitter on the planet up at the plate. The crowd is going nuts, thinking this is going to swing the whole game. I can't be the only one who was looking towards the dugout thinking to myself, is Davey going to hold up 4 fingers? Would he actually do that? Walk Judge with the bases loaded to bring up Stanton? I know Stanton's great also, but he's not Aaron Judge. And I asked Barnes, did you peek over there at all? He said, no, he purposely in that kind of situation avoids looking at the dugout at all because that's the last thing he wants to see. He wanted to go get him. He got him. Yes, they gave up a run in the process. They happily gave up that run in exchange for that double play.
Davey's never done that. Has he intentionally walked in a run?
No, I believe it's Buck Showalter, and I'm forgetting who the other one did it a few years ago. And I think those are the only times it ever happened. Showalter with Barry Bonds, and then somebody else got it just within the last couple of years. And it's one of the all-time gutsy moves you can make, but it did kind of feel like if ever you were going to do it, this could be it. He did have the intentionally walking, I think it was Max Muncy in the playoffs to load the bases and bring the go-ahead runner to the plate. I think that was in game 2 of the NLDS. So it was not quite, but close to that. But he has not ever actually walked in a run intentionally.
Well, we have a shout out to deliver. A happy birthday to Adam Miller, a lifelong Boston resident who became an Expos fan as a kid. Not only did his fandom continue to the Nats, but he was at the 2005 opener at RFK Stadium and the wild card win over the Brewers in 2019. Adam is thrilled to have Nats chat each morning as opposed to having to listen to Red Sox talk on WEEI. Well, we just talked about what New York sports talk radio might be like off this Yankees loss at the Nationals on Tuesday evening. A close number 2 to, shall we say, passionate baseball talk is what you get up in Boston on a station like WEEI. So thank you very much, Adam, and happy birthday.
Happy birthday to Adam. We are happy to serve this valuable purpose for you in your morning and get some good quality baseball talk that does not have to do with the Sox up there in New England.
Well, the Nats can win this series against the mighty Yankees. Game 3, Wednesday evening, 6:45. Mackenzie Gore will be the Nats starting pitcher. He is coming off one of his best outings in a while. Stiffer test, clearly, in facing the Yankees. But if Patrick Corbin can give you 6 shutout innings with 6 strikeouts against the Yankees, why can't Mackenzie Gore do well?
We know he has the stuff. He's got much better stuff than Patrick Corbin. Can he locate it? Can he keep the emotions under control? This is a big outing for him and a chance for him to show what he can be, and that maybe he has turned a little bit of a corner here recently. It's going to be fun to watch. This whole series really has been enjoyable because of the star power, because of all the young guys playing, because of the energy in the crowd. For a lot of these Nationals who have not been around very long, and those even who have been playing in some very meaningless games. I know it doesn't matter in the standings for them what happens in these games, but you can tell they're up for these games. This is a big deal for them to experience what this is like, a little taste of kind of what pennant race baseball used to feel like around here and maybe could feel like again.
This installment of the Nats Chat podcast brought to us by the best legal recruiter in the D.C. market, Mason Kalfas. Step up to a World Series winner and hire the best legal recruiter out there. Check out his website today, zenithlegal.com, or call or text them anytime, 202-486-3535. You can hit us up on X at Nats_chat. You can email the show, natschatpodcast@gmail.com. We invite you to check out our website, natschatpodcast.com. All Nationals radio highlights on Nats Chat are courtesy of 106.7 The Fan. For Mark Zuckerman, I'm Al Galdi. We thank you for listening, and we'll talk to you next time on the Nats Chat podcast.
So Cruz, his first big league multi-hit game. He's at second for Joey Gallo. The pitch, there goes Cruz for third. It's a ball low. The throw, the tag by Chisholm is not in time. Cruz avoiding the tag for his first big league stolen base.
Drinking and driving is a decision that could change your whole world. Things will never be the same if you ever get a DUI. Because legal fees and time in court are just the beginning. Getting into a crash is another way that your world can be turned upside down. Your vehicle may not be the only thing that gets damaged in that crash. You can face a life-altering injury or even death. But you're not the only one that can face those consequences. Your decision to drink and drive can permanently impact not just your world, but someone else's world as well. Whether you injure them or leave their loved ones grieving. The next time you're out drinking, call a rideshare, a taxi, a sober friend, or a designated sober driver. The only decision that will change your world for the better is the decision to call for a sober ride. Drive sober or get pulled over. Paid for by NHTSA.